Hey folks, how y'all doing? We're going to be looking at the residency matching algorithm today that we were talking about last time. Bear with me. I'm not on my usual machine, but we will make do with what we got. All right. So, all right. So, just a review from the Gale-Shapley algorithm. We choose one group to be the proposers. We choose the other group to be the proposees. Um, the proposees all just line up and wait, and the proposers go through and approach their first choice. And if they get rejected, then they go and approach their second choice. And if they get rejected again, they go and approach their third choice, and so on and so forth. Um, so every proposer moves on to their next choice and then approaches from that point on what's going on. So um, the algorithm terminates once nobody's being rejected, and so all the commitments become firm commitments at that point. We did a couple of examples in the last video. Um, the proof that a stable assignment was always possible just comes out of that algorithm. That when the algorithm is terminated, every proposer has tried all of the couplings that they would have preferred and have been rejected for those. And so it's not going to be possible for any proposer to trade up, and therefore there's no trade up that will be mutually satisfactory. Um, exactly 50 years later, after the Gale-Shapley algorithm, which was 1962, in 2012, Shapley again and his student Alvin Roth received a Nobel Prize jointly for adapting this algorithm to the problem of matching medical school graduates to residencies in hospitals. Their algorithm is a modification of the original Gale-Shapley algorithm, and that's what we're going to look at today. So it's branded as the National Residency Matching Program. It's informally called the Match. It's a program that matches medical school graduates to residency programs, and it is an adapted version of the Gale-Shapley-Roth algorithm that was described in this 2012 paper. They've made a few modifications over the years to account for a couple of special cases that they have to allow for, and certain requirements about having people with disabilities included in the process and things like that. But we're going to go through the basic process and not have to deal with those little special cases they have to deal with. So let's talk about some of the assumptions. In the original 1962 algorithm, we had to assume that we had exactly the same number of men and women. We do not assume that there's an equal number of doctors and vacancies. And that means that because the numbers may not be equal, there may be some doctors that do not get placed in a vacancy, or there may be some vacancies that don't get filled. And so those things can happen. Each doctor who applies to the NRMP submits a ranking of the programs that they're interested in. I'm simplifying this a little bit. A doctor that wants to practice in Virginia might list these programs. In fact, they interview with these programs first, and then they submit a list after they have had a chance to talk with a representative from each of these programs. But by the time that NRMP gets the data, they get a ranked list. It has to be a location and a program at that location. And not every location offers every branch of medicine. But so their first choice might be the Virginia Tech Carilion program in internal medicine. And then their next couple of choices might be two different programs at VCU, a program at UVA, then a fifth choice might be a different program at VCU. Innova Children's is a hospital up in Fairfax, Innova Children's Hospital, and they only do pediatrics. That might be this person's sixth choice, for example. So this might be a ranking from a particular candidate. Two doctors that are in a committed relationship may apply as a couple. Couples submit rank lists of paired placements. So we would like to both be at VCU in internal medicine, but if that doesn't work out, this partner still definitely wants to be in internal medicine, but this partner is willing to look at other areas of specialty. And if none of these work out, then we would like to be at EVA into internal medicine. And if that doesn't work out, we'll look at these other possibilities as well. That's the idea, that they can rank a list for each couple. And within those rankings, one partner can repeat a program against other choices, but you can't repeat the exact same pair. That's not allowed. Okay, so that's how that works. If either candidate in a couple is rejected from a placement, the couple loses that spot on the list, and any other spot that repeats that placement. So, for example, if this couple got applied for this pairing, VCU internal medicine, and the program accepted this candidate but not this candidate, then that also will cross this pairing off of the list also. But they can try again, and the first candidate in the couple can still try VCU internal medicine. Even it only rejects this particular pairing. It doesn't reject the first candidate from VCU. And so the first candidate can try again. They just have to try a different pair. So that's how that works. A doctor or a couple doesn't have to rank every program, just the ones they're interested in. In fact, they are penalized if they rank too many programs. There is a financial fee that they have to pay if they go over 100 programs, so that people are not just flooding the system with programs they're not seriously interested in. Any program that doesn't appear on a doctor's ranking is regarded as unacceptable to doctor, and they will not be matched to a program that doesn't appear on their ranking. And then each residency ranks all of the candidates who have applied to their program, again, because the candidates have interviewed at each hospital they apply to. Residencies know which candidates are going to apply, and a program can omit from the ranking a candidate that they found unsuitable, and that candidate won't be placed with the program. So every doctor, every couple, every program has a ranked list. Nobody is allowed to submit a list with a tie on it, but there's nothing in the rules that tell them how to break ties. And so some people may be breaking ties arbitrarily, and some people may have their own lucky way of breaking ties. The way that ties are broken is left up to each individual. There's no overall arching rule on how to break ties. Okay? So we're going to try this example. 12 doctors are applying to 3 residency programs. Johns Hopkins has 3 vacancies. Massachusetts General, which also has 3 vacancies, and Mayo Clinic has 4 vacancies. Now you can already see there are 12 doctors and there are only a total of 10 vacancies, and so not every doctor is going to end up getting placed this year. Here are the placements of 10 of the doctors. Isla has only listed Johns Hopkins on her list. She is putting all of her eggs in one basket. If she doesn't get the Johns Hopkins, she's going to wait out a year, and she will not accept a placement at Massachusetts General or Mayo Clinic. Ella is only interested in 2 hospitals. James is only interested in 2 hospitals. The other candidates have listed all 3 hospitals in the hope of getting a placement somewhere. So this is 10 of the doctors. The last 2 doctors, Chris and Lynn, have applied as a couple, and these are their rankings. So they would both like to be placed at Johns Hopkins. Their second choice is for Chris to be at Johns Hopkins and Lynn to be at Massachusetts General. If Chris can't get into Johns Hopkins, they'll accept both being placed into Massachusetts General, and then these are their fourth and fifth choices. Okay? All right. The colleges have had to rate their applicants as follows. I've just listed the first initial of the applicant, and these numbers here, once again, represent the number of spaces that are available. So on this last slide, I have all of this information. It's a little tiny, but I hope everybody can read it. And we want to determine what the result of the matching process looks like. Okay? So we have these three hospitals: Johns Hopkins, Massachusetts General, and Mayo Clinic. All right. We're going to look at round one. Everybody applies to their first choice. So Isla applies to Johns Hopkins. Brooke applies to Johns Hopkins. Chloe applies to Massachusetts General. Dex applies to Mayo Clinic. Ella applies to Johns Hopkins. Finn applies to Mayo Clinic. Genji applies to Johns Hopkins. Hope applies to Massachusetts General. Isaac applies to Massachusetts General. James applies to Johns Hopkins. And then Chris and Lynn both applied to Johns Hopkins as a couple. All right. And Johns Hopkins, remember, has 3 openings. Massachusetts General has 3 openings. Mayo Clinic has 4 openings. Okay? All right. Now, even though Mayo Clinic has 4 openings and only 2 applicants, we have to check to make sure that Mayo Clinic hasn't rejected one of the applicants by just leaving their initials off of the list completely. But it turns out that Mayo Clinic is pretty happy. Finn and Dex were their top 2 choices. So nobody's getting rejected there. Then we have to do the same thing. Massachusetts General has 3 openings, but did they reject any of these candidates outright? But C got a rank, H got a rank, I got a rank. It's a pretty low rank on the list. But they have 3 openings, and they did not totally leave I off the list, which would have meant that I was completely unacceptable. And so nobody gets ruled out there. Johns Hopkins only has 3 openings, and they have 7 applicants. So they're a very popular program. Their first choice was Chloe, but Chloe didn't apply to Johns Hopkins in round 1. And so Isla is okay. Then Chris is okay. And then Dex did not apply to Johns Hopkins in round 1. And so the next candidate, their 3 candidates are going to be Isla, Chris, and Ella. Okay? And so Brooke didn't get into Johns Hopkins. Genji didn't get into Johns Hopkins. James didn't get into Johns Hopkins. And there are Lynn did not get into Johns Hopkins. And because this is a pairing, we have to cross out this whole row. So I'm going to temporarily cross out Chris. Okay? Because the entire pair got rejected. So now we're going to round 2. Everybody that got rejected goes to their next choice. So for Brooke, that's Mayo Clinic. So this is going to be the next round. For Genji, that's Massachusetts General. For James, that's Mayo Clinic. And for Chris and Lynn, that's going to be Chris still applies to Johns Hopkins, but this time Lynn applies to Massachusetts General. All right. So Mayo Clinic has 4 openings, and all of these applicants are ranked. B is their very last choice that made the cut. Anybody below B, they got off the list completely. Massachusetts General has to make some decisions here. So Lynn was their first choice, so Lynn is okay. DK Chloe is their second choice, and Genji is their third choice, and so we're going to rule out Hope and Isaac now. They just got ruled out. And Johns Hopkins only has 3 applicants now. Chris didn't have to get turned down just because their first row got crossed out. Chris is still being considered by Johns Hopkins because of this row. But now we have to replace Hope and Isaac. So Hope applies to Mayo Clinic, and Isaac applies to Johns Hopkins. So Hope, let's look at what happened to Mayo Clinic now. So F, D, J, H. B is now the lowest ranked candidate there. And so B is now getting turned down. And so Brooke does not get placed with the Mayo Clinic. All right. So that's a rejection. And Johns Hopkins has 4 people right now. So A, E, K, and then I is their 4th out of these choices. And so I is getting rejected. That's Isaac's second choice. And so now Brooke and Isaac approach their third choices. So that's, for Brooke, that is Massachusetts General. And for Isaac, that's Mayo Clinic. So let's see what happens now. Mayo Clinic is approached by Dex, Finn, James, Hope, and Isaac. Whoa, sorry about that. All right, and so that unfortunately means that Hope is getting pushed out of the... Sorry, I am still getting used to this. This is not my usual setup. Let's make that work. All right. So Hope just got rejected by Mayo Clinic. So let's look at what's going on at Massachusetts General. They have 4 candidates, but only 3 vacancies. So C is, there's Chloe, Genji, Lisa, and Brock. Brooke is their last choice, and so Brooke is getting rejected. And unfortunately, that's Brooke's last opportunity. And so Brooke is not going to get a placement. But Hope has one more chance. She can apply to Johns Hopkins. So we're going to go to this row right here. See what happens. So Johns Hopkins has 4 applicants now and only 3 programs. And so their choices were Isla is there's right there. Chris is here. Ella is here. And Hope is unfortunately way down there. And so Hope is not going to displace any of the other candidates. And so Hope is going to get rejected by Johns Hopkins. And so she is also not going to get a placement. But we've managed to place everybody else. So Isla, who put all of her eggs in one basket and was hoping to get a replacement at Johns Hopkins, didn't even apply anywhere else, was made it in because she was one of their top 3 choices, and then when you've got 3 slots and you're one of their top 3 choices, you get in. Chloe got placed at Massachusetts General, which was her first choice. Dex got his first choice. Ella got her first choice. Finn got his first choice. Genji got their second choice. Isaac got his third choice. James got his second choice. Chris basically got his first choice because it was a pair here. But Lynn got her second choice, or his second choice. Okay? Alright. So that's how the matching process ended up working out. So it's a little more complicated than the other thing, because when you reject one candidate in a couple, you have to reject the entire line item from that list. But it doesn't prevent either partner from repeating a program later on in a different line item, as long as they don't repeat the same combination. There are, if there are more candidates than positions, there may be candidates that go home without a placement. And if there are more positions than candidates, it's possible that we'll have some unfilled positions. So, but we respected everybody's preferences as much as possible. That's what happened. And so that's how the matching process works. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. You take care. Let's see if I can stop this now. There we go. All right, take care.